The Ozarks are full of a deep, rich history that can sometimes be a little bit dark. What you guys are about to experience is some of the most spooky and some would say haunted locations right here in the Ozarks. We're going to visit the 1886 Crescent Hotel, the ghost town of Rush. And then finally, we will end up here at the Wellspring Hospital ruins. If you scare easy, you may just want to turn this video off. But if you dare, pop some popcorn, maybe make sure those doors are all locked, and join us for the first ever Baker Overland Halloween special. I know, Lennon, is this a spooky place to be? Yeah. All right, we are getting ready to start our first leg of the journey, and we're in a little different rig. Lennon, you want to tell us about this?
We're in an OZK van.
That's right, OZK Vans. This rig is one of the company rigs owned by Mr. Evan House, and he is letting us take it out on this trip. We don't normally get to do the van life thing,
no.
So we're getting spoiled on this one. So this will be our rig. Jacob and Savannah are on their way up here, and then we're going to head to Eureka Springs to showcase our first location, and I'm excited about it. What about you?
I'm so excited.
All right, let's go.
Man, I love the fall. Something about the color changes and cooler air seem more welcoming to a good adventure. The concept for this video came pretty easily. I was scrolling through YouTube and asked myself, what kind of video would I stop on? What am I wanting to watch? When I didn't see what I was looking for, I knew I had to make it. After weaving in and out of the narrow streets of Eureka, we spotted the hotel, perched atop the hill like an old dark owl with stories to tell.
We are here at the 1886 Crescent Hotel. On the way driving in here, we actually noticed that there was a full moon. And I gotta be honest, I got a little bit spooked. Now this place is super fascinating. First of all, we didn't record any of the wheeling shots, and that's because, spoiler alert, it was like 100% pavement. And I realize that's like super taboo for an Overland off-road channel, but the fact is, this is super accessible, and that's why I picked this spot. The other places are gonna require a little bit of overlanding and off-roading to get to, but this place, anybody can come here. You can book a room, come stay. It's really cool. So I did a lot of research on the location before we planned this shoot, but instead of me just like regurgitating all that to you, I wanted to see if we could actually go in, talk to the staff, and let them firsthand kind of tell us some more about this place. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. Let's head inside and see what we can learn. Okay. So we are heading towards the main entrance of the hotel, but it's actually not where I want to start. So we're going to go to a place that the typical guest doesn't get to see. Come with me. All right. We are here in lower level of the Crescent Hotel. They actually call this space the Morgue. Now, when I reached out to the hotel, I kind of told them the vision for this video, what I wanted to do, and told them I really wanted to speak to someone that worked here. They actually hooked us up with one of their ghost tour guides. I'm gonna introduce you to him right now. This is Mr. Dan Bennett. Dan, thank you so much for having us.
Sure, thank you.
We're here because we want to learn more about the Crescent Hotel. What can you tell us about this place?
Sure. Well, like I said before, we're here in the morgue, so it wasn't always a morgue, of course. The hotel was a hotel at the very beginning, and then for a short time, about 25 years, it was also a college for girls at the same time as a hotel. But in 1937, the hotel it was actually closed at that time because of the Great Depression, and it was bought by a man named Norman Baker. He had quite a career before he got here, but he claimed to have invented the cure for cancer, which was an injectable cure, and it was a concoction of ground watermelon seed, corn silk, water, glycerin, peppermint oil, clover, a little alcohol, and a dash of carbolic acid.
So was there any sort of science behind it, or was it just pure?
No.
Wow.
he actually stole this concoction from another doctor who was a real doctor, but he was selling a fake cure for cancer. This may be formula number 5 up here. We're not sure.
Really?
Now, I'll quickly tell you, these bottles that we're standing in front of, these were found here on the grounds of the hotel 4 years ago, last February. It was in 2019. Our gardener was digging a spot for a compost pile, and she began to find these jars and bottles. So we called the University of Arkansas, and they came over and had a look, and they brought the archaeological survey team, and they did a dig, and in April of 2019, and they found more than 400 of these jars and bottles buried out back, and we had no idea they were there. It was a complete surprise. Very cool find. 80 years are back there.
Why do they think these were buried?
He instructed staff to burn the records if he got arrested, so they did. So a lot of the records are lost as far as the hospital is concerned. And we think it's might be when he buried the bottles. We're not he personally, but the staff may have buried the bottles, and we're not certain about that. So anyway, this medicine that he claimed to be able to cure cancer as well as many other things was obviously balderdash. But from that legacy, we probably have half of our ghosts here at the hotel. By the way, Crescent Hotel is America's most haunted hotel.
That's what we've heard.
And we have a bunch of ghosts in here, and at least 3 of them are from the Baker Hospital. This is the autopsy room, and this is where Mr. Baker would take deceased patients. He'd cut them open, look around inside a little bit, and he'd sew them back up, send them off to the mortician. So the morticians were instructed to come here only at night. That was in order, to try to keep the deaths as quiet as possible. And now, keep in mind, this used to be the kitchen back in the old days.
Okay.
So before Baker got here. So over here is a cooler, what used to be a cooler. It's actually an old-fashioned ice box, and it was to store the food in the kitchen days. They put ice it down. And Mr. Baker would use the cooler to ice down deceased patients.
This is like a super weird feeling.
Yeah, I imagine. As far as we know, around 40 people died on the site. Most people, he had a 6-week guarantee. Most people, he'd kick them out. So go home, you're cured, get out of here. And
Go die somewhere else.
You'll feel woozy. You'll feel woozy for a couple of days. But and they just kick them out. And yeah, they die somewhere else, which is fine with him because if they died here, it was kind of inconvenient.
Yeah.
Not to mention bad for business.
Wow.
But
unreal.
Yeah.
This has been super awesome. You get to go home now, and then we got to sleep here. So thanks a lot for that.
Well,
Appreciate
sleep
that.
well. Sleep well.
Right. 1929. That was when Dr. Baker. So I guess that's when he created the concoction and published it. This is the best part. It says he published his findings, so the cure for cancer, in a magazine called TNT that he created. Okay, so Lennon, I gotta ask. We just finished doing the interview with the ghost tour guide. You said that you guys had some weird stuff happen. What happened to you?
So we were going down to get something out of a truck, and we went down the stairs because we hadn't yet, and we were on, I think, we couldn't tell, but floor 3, and we heard like wheels on like a wooden floor. It sounded weird.
When we were doing the tour with the guy, he said that, I think he said it was a 3rd floor, that some people have claimed to hear the ghost that wheels the cart to the morgue. So they used to take the people that died here at the hospital and wheel them to the morgue. And some people claim to hear the squeaky wheels. Spooky stuff. Survive the night. this 3rd floor. Okay, Lennon, what were your thoughts on our first night in the Crescent Hotel?
It was so cool, but it was kind of spooky.
No, did you have a hard time sleeping?
A little bit.
Yeah. But all in all, you'd say it was a win?
Yeah.
Good.
Location number 1, check. The activity and attractions of Eureka were now in our rearview mirror as we drove eastward towards the Buffalo River. Our next destination could not be any more opposite the first. Lunch pit stops hit different in a recreational van. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It feels like cheating. Zero setup, just put it in park and call it done. Chris Farley warned us that if we didn't work hard, we'd end up in a van down by the river. It's funny how now, that's all any of us want. I was a tad apprehensive about bringing my daughter on this trip with me. After all, we're visiting some spooky spots. I wasn't sure how she would handle it all. But she's a bit like her dad in that she's a sucker for a good story. Once she heard the plan, there was no leaving her behind. Fueled up and cleaned up, we now headed to the weathered remnants of a town, long since forgotten.
We are here at the ghost town of Rush. Now, what you're seeing behind me, this big furnace, was actually a smelter. So the original prospectors, when they discovered that some of these rock hills and mountains back here had ore, they thought it was silver-bearing ore. So they built this smelter to produce the silver. You imagine all the manpower and effort that it took to bring the materials needed and construct this, dig the mines, pull out the ore, and then they ran it. And as they ran it, they realized there was no silver in the ore here. So you imagine how devastating that would have been, all that effort, and then, nothing. As they continued to process it, though, they realized that what they discovered was not silver, but actually zinc, which was very valuable at the time, and that is what was the foundation of the entire community of Rush. From this point, they went out and they built the general store, they went out and built homes, blacksmith, church, cemetery, and the community developed. As zinc became less and less necessary, and the mine eventually produced a smaller and smaller amount, eventually it closed down and the whole community dissipated. The Buffalo National River actually ended up adopting this area into the park, so it's protected by the Forest Service, and you can come visit it today. But it's a very eerie, strange kind of sensation being here, seeing like all these structures that represent so many lives and so many people that lived in the community, and they're just gone. Like no trace other than these structures left. We're exploring kind of the spooky ghost stories, and this place doesn't really have ghost stories, but it is unnerving to be in a place that represented so many people that are now just no longer here. So this was some sort of entryway to some building. Wow. You can see the remnants of the walls, even like the plaster on the walls, and in some places you can see hints of the wallpaper, and it's pretty spooky. This is one of the few structures at Rush that you can actually walk into. I don't want you walking on them because the floors are wood and they're falling apart. This one does have stone and concrete base, so really a strange feeling. So this place is awesome, but I'm ready to get out of here. We're gonna head to camp, find a spot. We don't know where we're going, but we're gonna find us a good spot, camp tonight, and then from there, I'm going to get rid of the van, switch back to my truck, because we're gonna move to a little bit more off-roading type stuff.
These dusty, dark roads, it's hard to see the person in front of you, but Jacob just cut his chase lights on and now I can really see good. It helps a lot. We've had a change in plans.
Yeah.
I was looking for my tripod quick connect, which was on Jacob's camera, looking for that so that I could film some of the dinner cooking process. And he went to get it, searched his truck. Long story short, he doesn't have his camera. When we were shooting the nighttime scene at the ghost town of Rush, Jacob accidentally forgot to pick his camera back up. We were shooting with my camera for that portion, and he had set his down on the ground, and we left and drove 2.5 hours to a campsite in the middle of the night, only to realize that we've got to now pack up and head back. So, big change of plans. You can't get your panties up in a bunch when stuff goes south, because it is literally part of overlanding.
It was at that middle one.
I don't see anything at all.
Holy shit, he found it. It's still there. Thank you, Jesus.
Oh, we're good. We have it. It's a little wet on the bottom because of the dew, but
after work Friday, I grabbed my truck and trailer. Jacob did a last-minute emergency brake line repair, and we made our way to the Twain National Forest. I don't know this forest. It's dark, it's cold, it's October, a real triple threat.
Let's take bets. Is Justin gonna be awake or asleep when we get there?
he's gonna be asleep.
I think he's gonna be snoring loudly.
What up?
Our friend Justin had made his way over from Louisiana. It just so happened he was camping solo in Twain, and when we got word, we decided to join him. He didn't have any boudin or jambalaya ready, but there was a warm fire, so we'll give him that.
Call this rust bacon. Might be a little bit in there if you want some of it. I mean, we've got a good 2 hours from here, but he wasn't meeting us till 2.
Looks like he got out early.
So, yeah, okay.
Our final destination would certainly be the strangest. With armless Bob in the back seat, we left Glade Top and headed north. With the previous two locations, I had a pretty solid idea of what to expect. The Crescent would be a tourist trap, Rush would be desolate, but the ruins of a 100-year-old hospital in the middle of literally nowhere? Yeah, I had no clue what we were in for. As we traversed the Missouri hillside, I tried to keep my mind focused on the task at hand. We had a story to tell, although I wasn't sure what it was. Regardless, a few pit stops and 3 hours later, we arrived at the trailhead.
Fortunately, we found the trail to get here, but when we started, we were trying to climb up on top of that, and we just missed this trail right here. But it's much more, after that initial steep climb, it's much more accessible on this little trail. You are right on the edge of a pretty steep drop, so if you're bringing little kids out here, keep that in mind. But we're here at the Wellspring Abandoned Hospital, and it's not really like anything I've ever seen in the Ozarks before. I've seen torn down like wood cabins, restored wood cabins like the Spurgeon Warden cabin. We've seen obviously lots of caves that were used by Native Americans, but seeing like an actual rock like hospital just out here on the side of a cliff, it's a whole different vibe. Really bizarre.
Current River Welch was born in 1859 and owned the Welch Cave and Spring. He was named after the river. He had two sons, James and Arnold, heirs of the Welch Cave and Spring after their father's death in 1912. One day, the boys were watering a team of horses when they heard a voice across the river. "Who owns this land and is it for sale? My name is Dr. Deal." The brothers had just joined the army and World War II was beginning. They decided, because of this, to accept the doctor's offer, and the deed was signed to Dr. Deal in 1913. The doctor had a dream of building a hospital that would help people with breathing problems like asthma, hay fever, etc. When he saw the cave, he believed that was his answer. While some people did claim the hospital helped, it was never proven. Dr. Deal was a dedicated doctor looking for something different or unusual, but his health wasn't good, and he died in 1940. His wife sold the property, and it quickly turned to ruins. But even to this day, the locals will tell stories of Dr. Deal. They claim that when he was living, he would start each morning by fishing out a tall glass of Welch Spring water. He'd drink it down quickly and say, "This is good. This is pure." Day in and day out, that was his morning routine. On a misty morning, if you visit the spring just before sunrise, some claim you can hide in the trees opposite the river and see the doctor scooping up the good, pure water into his cup.
So this fact blew my mind. The Welch Spring that runs out of this bluff side through the hospital and exits over there pumps out on average over 70 million gallons of water. it comes out of this cave. Having just been at Blanchard Springs, we've seen what happens when water runs through bluff sides and cliffs and forms caves and leaves spaces. So no telling what kind of network of caverns and spaces run through this this area.
You're good.
He says fat boys can't rock climb. Well, guys, we're going to get back to the campfire, enjoy this night. I'm going to wrap up the video right here. This has been a lot of fun. First Halloween special, getting to see some cool, spooky spots in the Ozarks. It's cool. It's cool. You know, I'm not the type of person that gets super freaked out about stuff like that. I'm much more scared of the less than paranormal, practical, crazy people and animals and that sort of thing. But it's cool to go to some places that have some neat stories and get to look at them, and this is the time of year to do that. So I hope that you guys will get out, go enjoy whatever's close to you, wherever you have access to public land or even private campgrounds. That's where we are right now, because we couldn't find a place to camp. So we're on a private campground. And hey, as long as you're getting out making memories, that's the thing that matters. I appreciate you guys watching this. If you want to see more videos on my channel, you guys know the deal. You can check out this one up here, or this one right down here. Thanks for watching, and remember, the more you camp, the less deer, the aliens, and the goons, goblins, and ghosts abduct. You son of a...